Welcome to the explainer. We use them in almost every single sentence we speak, but getting them wrong, well, that can make our communication sound a little clumsy, maybe even unprofessional. So today, we're going to master personal pronouns, those small but mighty words that make a huge difference in speaking and writing clearly. So here's our game plan. We'll start by seeing why pronouns are so crucial. Then we'll meet the main types. After that, we'll make sure we're getting the forms right, untangle some of those tricky rules, and finally put it all to the test. Let's dive in.
So, first things first, why do we even need pronouns? Well, to really get it, let's just imagine a world without them for a second. It would be, well, really repetitive and honestly kind of exhausting to listen to.
Just listen to this sentence. Hari is absent because Hari is ill. It sounds a bit clunky, almost robotic, right? Now listen to it with one tiny change. Hari is absent because he is ill. See? It's instantly smoother, more natural. And that right there is the magic of a pronoun. Its job is to stamp out repetition and make our language flow. So at its very core, a pronoun is just a substitute, a stand-in for a noun. You can think of it as a linguistic shortcut that saves us from saying the same names and things over and over again. It's a really simple idea, but it has such a powerful effect on how we communicate.
Okay, so now that we know why we need them, let's get to know the main players. Personal pronouns are basically sorted into three groups, and it all depends on the point of view. First up, you've got the first person. This is the speaker, the person telling the story. So if you're the one talking, you'd use I for just yourself, or we if you're talking on behalf of a group. It's basically the narrator's point of view. Next, we have the second person. This one's easy. It's whoever is being spoken to, the listener. And in English, this is beautifully simple. We just use you. Doesn't matter if we're talking to one person or a whole crowd. You are the audience. And finally, there's the third person. This covers pretty much everyone and everything else. The people, the animals, the ideas that we're talking about. He, she, it, and they are the stars of our stories.
Okay, this next part might feel a little technical, but trust me, this is the key to avoiding some of the most common grammar mistakes out there. Pronouns actually change their form, or what we call their case, depending on the job they're doing in a sentence.
So, here are the three main forms. You have nominative for the subject, the one doing the action, like in I went to the store. Then there's accusative for the object, the one receiving the action, like in she called me. And finally, possessive, which, just like it sounds, shows ownership. That book is mine. Now here's a really important little detail about possessives. A possessive adjective like my or your always needs a noun right after it. This is my book. But a possessive pronoun, like mine or yours, stands all by itself. It actually replaces the noun entirely. This book is mine. See the difference? All right, let's roll up our sleeves and tackle the rules that seem to trip people up the most. Once you get these down, you'll be able to handle pretty much any tricky sentence with total confidence. You know, the pronoun it is a real workhorse of the English language. I mean, think about it. We use it for objects, of course, but also for animals, and even as a placeholder for big ideas like time or weather. When we say, it's raining, or it's 10 o'clock, what is it really? It's just an incredibly versatile little word. Here's a really simple rule to remember. Think of the word and as a plus sign. It just adds things together. So Rama plus Hari becomes a group. They become they. So whenever you see and connecting two subjects, you're almost always going to need a plural pronoun like they or their. But you've got to be careful because the words or and nor do the exact opposite. They separate things. They force a choice, one or the other, but not both. That's why we stick with a singular pronoun. It was either Sita or Amina who forgot, so it was her parasol. And here's a fun one. This is a rule that's less about strict grammar and more about, well, good manners. In English, it's just considered polite to mention the other person first. So you say you and I or you and he. You always put yourself last in the list. It's a simple, respectful touch. Okay, theory is great, But now it's time to put all this knowledge into practice. I'm going to show you a few sentences that have some really common pronoun mistakes. Think you can spot the correct choice? Let's find out.
Okay, first one. Wait for Hari and is it I or is it me? This one is a classic stumbling block. Take a second. What do you think? If you said me, you are absolutely right. And here's the simple trick. The word for is a preposition. Any pronoun that comes after a preposition is an object, so it has to be in that accusative case. That's why it's me, not I. A great little rule to remember.
Let's try another one that follows the same logic. Between you and I or me, which one feels right here?
That's right, it's me again, and it's for the exact same reason. The word between is a preposition, so the pronoun that follows it has to be in the accusative case. It is always, always between you and me.
All right, I've got one last one for you. And I'll admit, this one is a bit of a curveball. It's designed to really test your understanding of that preposition rule. Ready?
The correct answer is him. Now, I know this one is tricky. We usually think of but as a word that connects ideas. In this sentence, however, but actually means except, and except is a preposition. So, what comes after a preposition? You got it, an accusative pronoun. Nobody will help you except him. And just like that, you've untangled the world of personal pronouns. From persons to cases to politeness, you now have a complete toolkit to use them with confidence. They might be small words, but getting them right makes a world of difference in how clear and polished you sound. So the only question is, what's next on your grammar journey?